Think if you can. We don't believe you can. We don't believe Allah can. Produce it right now. Yasalu ayyana yawmul qiyamah. Now Allah might respond to the question, ayyana when? Fayda bariq al-basar. Yes, when the eyes will be dazed. Wa khasaf al-qamar. And the moon will be eclipsed. Wa jumi'a al-shamsu wal-qamar. And the sun and the moon will be brought together. Now we don't know what does it mean. Whether they are going to collide or they will just be brought together. We don't know. Most probably there is going to be a collision. Everything will be upside down. Yaqulu al-insanu. Now, note down the insan again. One who today asks tauntingly, when is going to be the day of judgment? When is going to be the day of resurrection? When actually it happens, يَقُولُ الْإِنسَانُ يَوْمَئِذٍ أَيْنَ الْمَفَرُّ. That day man will cry. Where to flee? Where can I run away? Kalla la wazar. No, there will be no refuge today. There will be no refuge at all. Ila rabbika yawma idhin al-mustaqar. The permanent resort will only be with your Lord that day. Now again, al-insan. Yunabbaw al-insanu yawma idhin bima qaddama wa akhar. The record of all what man sent forth and what he held back will be produced before him that day. Yunabbaw al-insanu yawma idhin bima qaddama wa akhar. Bal al-insanu ala nafsihi basira. Fact is, bal al-insanu ala nafsihi basira. The fact is, man is a witness against himself. Bal al-insanu ala nafsihi basira. In fact, man is a witness against himself. Walau alqa ma'adhira. Even though he renders his excuses. No, the same conscience. If man looks into himself, he is very clear where he stands. No matter what arguments he produces, no matter what arguments he brings forth to rationalize his position, to make others fool, but honestly speaking, he knows what he is. He knows what is going to happen. He knows whether he is pious or he is guilty. He knows. But in arguments, an atheist, he will say, I'm better than you. I'm this, I'm that. But deep inside he knows what he is. Even though he renders his excuses, لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل. You know, in the morning session we discussed what Quran is like. Is it a novel? Is it a fiction? Is it a story? What it is? Then what is the style of the Quran? Is the style of a storyteller? Or is the style of a khatib, a speaker? Quran is a khitab, a khutbah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, there's a difference between a lecture and a khutbah, an address. When a speaker addresses a public, He doesn't go out to all the details. He just refers the incidents. All of a sudden, he changes the subject, but audience is knowing what he's saying. Whereas a lecturer, when he switches over a subject, then he has to explain. Now I am going to give you an example. But a speaker, while addressing, he doesn't say, I'll give you an example. He simply will attack the other person. And the audience will clap, oh, because they understand what is going on, what he's saying, what he's talking about. So now, all of a sudden, address changes. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is addressed directly. لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به. Do not move your tongue swiftly while reading the Quran so that you quickly memorize it. Inna alayna jam'ahu wa Qur'ana. Indeed, it is our responsibility to bring it together and make you recite it. فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ. So, when we recite it through Jibreel, فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ, then do follow its recitation. ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا بَيَانًا. Then it is our responsibility to explain it. Now again the same subject. No, this subject is also related to the main. There are objections on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That, oh, you learn from someone else. It is not a word of God. Just forget about this. You don't have to try to swiftly memorize the Quran. It's our duty to make you memorize. So, when on our behalf Jibreel recites to you, simply follow his recitation. We will keep it in your mind. And we will give you its explanation too. It will directly come to your mind, don't worry. Kalla! No way! Bal tuhibbuna al-ajila. The fact of the matter is, you love immediate gains of this life. That is why you don't want to accept the hereafter. The real problem is that you are not ready to leave the immediate gains of this life, dunya. Ajila. Ajila means immediately available, immediate gain. And all the worldly gains are immediate as compared to the akhirah ones. Kalla bal tuhibbuna al-ajila. No, in fact you love immediate gains of this life. Wa tadharuna al-akhirah. And you neglect the hereafter. And this is the picture of all of us, not only the non-believers. We the believers too behave the same way. We love dunya. We are after the immediate gains. I believe in the hereafter. You too believe in the hereafter. And what is the hereafter? Allah Almighty says that dunya, bal tusiruna al-hayat ad-dunya, but you give preference to the worldly life, wal akhiratu khayrun wa abqa. Whereas akhirah is better as well as long lasting. You know, this is what we do. We all believe in the hereafter. We all believe that we have to die and we have to be living again. We all believe that our accounts will be brought before us and we'll have to give the explanation. We all know there is hell. We all know there is paradise. Yet, what is the amount of time we devote for the hereafter? So, Kalla bal tuhibbuna al-ajila. No, in fact, You love, no, correct the word is your love, it is you love. In fact, you love immediate gains of this life. وَتَذَرُونَ الْآخِرَةِ, and you neglect the hereafter, whether you believe in it or you don't. وُجُوهُ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ, many faces will be fresh that day. إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ, looking towards their Lord. وَوُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ بَاسِرَةٌ, but many faces will be gloomy that day. تَظُنُّ أَن يُفْعَلَ بِهَا فَاقِرَةٌ, believing that some bad breaking treatment will be given to them. Kalla, no. إِذَا بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِيَ, when man's soul reaches the throat while leaving the body at the time of death. وَقِيلَ, and there will be a cry. Man Raaq, is there an enchanter to help? You know, even the most atheist-minded people, they look for an enchanter. Some Sufi, somebody to blow onto his body so that he gets rid of this situation. وَظَنَّ أَنَّهُ الْفِرَاقُ, and he will realize that it is certainly the time of departure. وَالْتَفَّتِ السَّاقُ بِالسَّاقِ, while one leg will twist around the other. إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْمَسَاقُ, that day you will be driven only to your Lord, man. So, this is the description of the hereafter. You know, as we said in the morning, that Quran is an amazing type of description, the book. It has all the means to motivate. Sometimes it is soft, sometimes it is hard, sometimes it's motivating, sometimes it's warning, sometimes it's admonishing, sometimes it's threatening. You know, all these styles are adopted in the Quran. Now immediately again the style changes. فَلَا صَدَّقَ وَلَا صَلَّى, but neither he accepted the truth nor did he pray. وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى, on the contrary, he denied and turned away. ثُمَّ ذَهَبَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ يَتَمَطَّىٰ, moreover, he walked to his people proudly to admire himself. You know, he acts like this and then admires himself. What a tremendous job he is doing. He is denying and then laughing at the messenger, pulling his leg and then being proud of it. Now this is the word of condemnation against him. أَوْلَى لَكَ فَأَوْلَى, curse to you, curse on you. ثُمَّ أَوْلَى لَكَ فَأَوْلَى, the shame on you again and again. أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى. You know, where we started from, we are coming back to the same point again. Does man assume that he will be left futile? No. Alam yakun nutfatan min maniyyin yumna, was he not a drop of emitted semen once? In one time, what man was? You know, today the President of United States, or the President of Uganda, or the President of Pakistan, or the Queen of UK. What were they one time? Not even to mention a drop of semen. Alam yaku nutfatam min manihi yumna. Was he not a drop of emitted semen once? Thumma kana alaqan. Then he turned to be a leech-like mass. فَخَلَقَ فَسَوَّى. Then Allah created him and brought perfection. فَجَعَلَ مِنْهُ الزَّوْجَيْنِ. You know, in the beginning, the argument given was that don't you see the fingerprints? What an accurate, perfection in the creation of the fingertips. Now another proof of Allah's authority, Allah's capability. فَجَعَلَ مِنْهُ الزَّوْجَيْنِ. Then from the same drop of semen, Allah made him either of the two sexes, the male and the female. And this again is the tremendous signs of Allah's authority. You know, apparently man and woman differ from each other only in privates and having a beard and mustaches. But now in the light of genetics, we understand that man and woman are different from each other. Altogether, each and every cell of man is different from that of woman. So, even where they look similar to each other, for example, I have 5 fingers in hand and she too has 5 fingers in hand. But it's just like a table of wood and a table of steel of the same size, of the same color. But you know, the nature is different because the material is different. But the origin is the same. It's the same drop of semen which produces a man, and the same drop of semen which produces a woman. Don't you believe Allah is capable enough to reproduce you? This is what Allah Almighty is saying now. أَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ بِقَادِرٍ. Has he not then the power عَلَىٰ أَن يُحْيِيَ الْمَوْتَى, to bring the dead to life? Yes, indeed, he is all powerful. So, this was the lesson on the hereafter. The summary of this lesson is that this is the surah named Surah Al-Qiyamah, and like some other surahs of the Quran, the name of this surah is the title of this surah too. Otherwise, normally the name is just a name. From the first ayah to the last ayah, this talks about the hereafter, and it has been the style of threatening, motivating, giving information, arguments. All these things have been brought together about the day of judgment. In the beginning and the end, one confusion has been addressed, that Allah is capable to bring you to life again. 2 arguments have been given. One, He is able to reframe the fingerprints, the fingertips, and the proof is the fingerprints. Then in the end, Allah Almighty says, don't you appreciate His capability? How capable is He? That from one same drop of semen, He brings man and woman, which are 2 entirely different creatures. They differ from each other in each and everything. Their physiology is different. Their histology is different. Their nature is different. Their chemistry is different. their behavior is different, their psychology is different. But origin is one and the same drop of seed. Then Allah Almighty tells that people who object about the Akhirah and say it's not possible, don't think, O Muhammad, that they don't believe this. In fact, they have developed bad habits and they don't want to leave those bad habits, and they want to send forth the same offenses. Then today he tauntingly asks the Prophet, when is going to be the day of judgment? But when the day will be there, the same man will ask, is there any way to flee? No, you will have to stay, there is no way out. Then Allah Almighty says that today man gives arguments, but when the day will be, but even today he knows where he stands, because he looks into himself and his conscience always gives him the correct information. Then beautifully portrayed the signs of death. That today man asks, when is going to be the day of judgment? But very soon, when he will be leaving this world and his soul will be stuck in his throat, and then even the most rationalist, atheist person will ask for someone who just blows into it and gets rid of this pain. Then Allah Almighty threatens Abu Jahl, فَلَا صَدَّقَ وَلَا صَلَّى وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى ثُمَّ ذَهَبَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ يَتَمَطَّىٰ. Then he curses him, shameful, shame on you. Yet again, shame on you, shame on you. This is your attitude. And then, in the end, as I have discussed, is the argument that Allah Almighty is fully capable to bring you to life.